How are you doing? Dan Martin from Gardens for Life. In this video I'm going to talk to you about wood chips. It's our lucky day. We got a load delivered today. We just used up our last load of wood chips from about 2 years ago, and actually basically 3 days ago. And now we got this huge load of wood chips, mostly Lilandi, and it's perfect because any kind of evergreen trees will last longer if you use them in the garden. And don't worry, they won't add to the acidity of the soil. As long as you let the needles, see the needles here is in the leaves of the pine trees and spruce trees, as long as you let them go brown before you put it on. But we're going to try and move the wood chips as quick as we can. Dogs are having a great time in the wood chips. What do you think of the wood chips?
They're awesome.
You like playing in them? Before we get into it, I just want to let you know real quick that our winter selection pre-sale is on now. So we've got all kinds of different willow and poplar cuttings and tuberous vegetables on our website as well. So you can have a look at them and let us know if you have any questions below. So we used wood chips to cover our entire garden, some of them anyway, like the wood chip island behind me here. If you haven't seen that garden and how it was made, actually, there is some videos on our channels and on our website. And we're going to recover the entire wood chip island with wood chips this year. So we've got two different types of gardens here. It's the no dig gardens, which is basically just compost and a little sprinkle of wood chips on the paths. And we've got lasagna gardens, or back to Eden gardens, which then are turned into forest gardens, like you can see behind me here. This is the wood chip island behind me. And for those of you who haven't seen it yet, there's some videos on how it was made. And some tours of it after year 1, 2 and 3. This garden is now 4.5 years old, and it was covered basically 6 inches of compost, covered in 6 inches of Lilandi wood chips. And look what's left of the wood chips now. Basically just very little of it, and the rest of it has actually broken down into compost. So the plants are able to absorb those nutrients now, and they're doing great. This is aronia here. You can see comfrey growing here too, and some different fruit trees and all sorts of different bits and pieces. But we're going to cover this all the paths anyway, with wood chips again here. And you can see the weeds have come through in some places, so we're just going to cover them either with a good thick layer of wood chips, or maybe a thin layer of wood chips with some cardboard. Put down the cardboard first, and then we'll put the wood chips on top to make it look nicer, but also to keep the cardboard down and stop it from blowing away. So the wood chips make really nice paths as well, so you keep your feet dry and clean for the growing season, especially in the winter time. And we found that just putting down about 2 inches of wood chips or 5 centimeters worth on the paths is fine. But of course the birds actually keep digging and mixing them a little bit, but it's not too bad. So wood chips have all kinds of different benefits to your garden. Mainly we use them on the paths to keep our feet clean and dry, but also they break down and turn into nutrients that the trees and the plants, at least the perennials anyway, the woody plants can absorb. But also they give habitat to the insects, especially beetles, and beetles eat slug eggs. So you can reduce your slug pressure significantly by just creating a habitat for them and actually providing a food source also. That's why we have a lot of flowers in the gardens, and we attract beneficial insects, which then later give us more biodiversity year after year. Increasing your biodiversity in your garden to the point where you don't need to ever spray anything in your garden again against any kind of pest, where it's all kind of in a somewhat ecological equilibrium. That's where it's at, and that's where Toby Hemingway said once you get the flywheel of nature rolling or started in your garden, it basically propels itself and it improves over time without your input, or at least with very little input. Of course, we import wood chips and compost here, and our no-dig gardens usually have mainly annuals and some perennials in it in the beginning, and then as the years go by, year 2 and 3, there's just perennials in it mainly, and then we're going to be adding a wood chip layer at that point. Basically nearly all over, just to reduce the need for weeding by about another 90% basically. So the no dig is actually great. It reduces the need for weeds or for weeding significantly, but also the wood chip layer then reduces it even further. So your soil is going to turn from a no dig garden, as in a nitrogen based soil, bacteria based soil, to more of a fungal based soil with the wood chip layer added on top. The fungal soil actually benefits woody plants more than nitrogen loving plants, which basically are leafy greens, such as all the brassicas, for example, and a lot of the annual vegetables as well. Of course, your Jerusalem artichoke doesn't mind at all if you add a layer of wood chips, because these have been grown in the wood chip island and they did very well. Even though it's actually something called a nitrogen pig, because it eats as much nitrogen as you can give it or provide it. So are you moving the wood chips? You have half the pile gone. So again, we could put down a layer of cardboard here to save wood chips, but we don't have any cardboard at the moment, so we'll just put down an extra bit of wood chip instead, an extra thick layer. We can use the rake too. If you haven't seen our other wood chip videos or our compost video, I'll put a link here at the end and you can take a look at it. And we highly appreciate you watching our video. Please give us a thumbs up if you don't mind. And you can also support us by buying some plants on our website or become a member of the support community. Thank you very much, and we'll see you the next time. Bye bye.